Hi guys, welcome back to Spice Channel TV. Thank you for joining us. If you're coming out here for the first time, please kindly subscribe and don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Thank you. Yes, I think in August 16th, 2023, a repayment loan was secured and it was designed to bolster the naira and to stabilize the foreign exchange market. The transaction, arranged by the African Export-Import Bank, was not only intended to support the national currency, but also to aid the federal government's monetary and fiscal reforms. Notably, 3 weeks ago, the federal government had received the sum of $2.25 billion of the $3.3 billion foreign exchange facility from the bank. But then the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, during the 2023 general elections, Atiku Abubakar, asked the president, Bola Tinubu, to give details, to make details of the 3.3 billion dollar emergency crude repayment loan that was secured by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, and to make it accessible to the general public. In a statement he released on his verified X page, the former vice president berated the Tinubu's government for hiding necessary information on the loan from the citizens. Atiku added that the findings had showed that Nigeria would eventually pay crude oil worth the sum of $12 billion in return for the $3.3 billion which was purportedly secured to stabilize the exchange rate in the country. And Atiku had made this known that at this point, the government of Tinubu's administration needs to make those details public. Atiku has therefore said that it would be unreasonable for Nigeria to take such a loan with that kind of huge interest. With that kind of huge interest amid a series of socio-economic problems that is currently facing the country. And it is quite a humongous differential of about $7 billion between what is in the details of the deal on paper and what is indeed the reality. There are questions to be answered on the integrity of this deal, and they've earnestly pleaded and requested the federal government to talk directly on these cloudy details behind the deal. So they've therefore demanded, on behalf of the ordinary people of Nigeria, that the federal government must provide answers to how they assessed the loan. Is the loan in the federal government's budgeting plan as approved by the National Assembly? Now, who are these parties to the loan? And what specific roles are they expected to play? What are the conditions to the loan, including the tenor, including the repayment terms, and the collateral and the interest rates? And lastly, why register an SPV in the Bahamas, knowing the recent scandal of the country's, notoriety for warehousing unclean assets? At this point, something is quite fishy. Something is really fishy, and Atiku has, pinpointed some deals that seem to be shady. How come the federal government would register a company in the Bahamas, knowing fully well the recent scandal of the Paradise Papers that involved that country? Curiously, also, the Nigeria's current barrels produced about 1.38 million, and this is a daily production. And according to the project Gaza deal, Nigeria is to supply about 90,000 barrels of its daily production starting from 2024 till it is up to 164.25 million barrels for the repayment of the loan. Now, this is where the details get disturbing, because Nigeria's benchmark for the scale of crude oil per barrel in 2024 is $77.96. So a simple multiplication of that figure by 164.25 will give us a whopping $12 billion. So how come the Nigerian government is taking such a loan with huge interest? Amid the loan crisis we are facing, we are yet to pay the ones we have borrowed, and they are still taking more loan. What is really going on? Atiku has raised concerns over this very issue. And I can tell you that the presidency had also reacted to this, series of questions being raised by Atiku Abubakar, wherein the presidency had, talked about the detailed account of the repayment loan, adding that only available details were emerging from sources within the NNPCL. They highlighted the transaction was being facilitated by a special purpose vehicle named Project Gazelle Funding Limited, which was incorporated in Bahamas. And reacting to Atiku's query recently, the Tinubu's government, took time to educate all Nigerians further on the loan at various levels. They talked about the loan and how it would benefit Nigerians and how it would, minimize the impact on future earnings and enhance Nigerians' credit rating. So they really said a lot of things, and these things are not really, adding up. There were no concrete answers to the questions being raised on why the money was borrowed in the first place. So is it that the borrowing of this money was for, what was it for? Why did they borrow this money? Who are these people involved in borrowing this money? And how come we are still borrowing money at this present state that we are? What is happening? Look at the rate of the naira to the dollar. The naira now has lost its value, and yet Nigeria is still borrowing huge sum of money. How are we going to pay back this money? What are they going to use it for? So many questions are being raised. Now, who would provide concrete answers to these questions? That is the question on Atiku's mind and on the minds of every other Nigerian. So my country people, what are your thoughts on this issue? Yes, a lot of people would say, okay, Atiku Abubakar should stop making noise. After all, when he was the VP, he had his own share of corruption. He also embezzled money and this and that. Well, my country people, a lot of people have been raising questions about this borrowing pattern of this APC's administration. And at this point, Atiku has also created a room for Nigerians to, to also inquire about this loan, which would be paid with about $12 billion crude oil. So my country people, I'm dropping here. Kindly share your thoughts on this in the comment section. Thank you.